Peace, everybody who's going to be tuning in later. We're going to be going over how to deliver your baby at a hospital without getting a birth certificate or social security number. So I'm just waiting for my brother to get in. There he is. There he is.
Here go Truth. Say Peter. That's Uncle Trail. Say
What's
P.
up, Truth?
That's your aunt right there.
That's right. Hey, I'm going to be teaching you how to hoop. Don't listen too much to your father.
Shots fired, man. Already look. It ain't even been 5 seconds. Shooting shots, man. It ain't even been 5 seconds. He thought money going. You going don't listen to me when you play basketball. All right, look. You see where he just coming from? Look. He just coming from practice.
Yep.
They coming from practice. Yeah, so you're gonna be right. So when we come down there, you're gonna get that work. You're gonna get that work. You're gonna get that work. Oh, I was just talking to E, and all this long time I known E, I never even knew that he was interested in basketball. And he's like, "That's all I do every day. That's my muse." I'm like, "Bruh," I said, "I'm gonna tell Jalil because we gonna tear your old ass up."
Yep. No, I'm right, all y'all retired.
Oh man.
Anyways, people been waiting. They've been waiting for
hey, you know they waiting for us. Essentially, I think people are waiting for us, and they're also waiting for each other. You know what I mean? And that's essentially what it is. Because how I feel about things is, we all got something to contribute. We all got something to share. We all got something to learn. We all got some perceptions to purge. Did I time out? Yeah, give me a moment. Let me turn my phone off because somebody was calling me while we was in a live. So let me cut it off real quick.
Okay.
Put on my. Yeah, I'm about to put on my do not disturb.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go.
I know how you.
You know, bro. I don't even be dealing with it. I don't even be dealing with it. I'll be like this. Look, I'm gonna call this guy. I'm gonna call you. Listen, man, I just ain't beat. Yeah, I mean, I don't even feel like taking the time out to take the time out. Oh man. Look. Somebody said IG hating already.
No,
that's how they be doing. So yeah, but other than. Oh yeah, so other than that, like I was saying, is that I think that we all have something to contribute to the cause, and the biggest dynamic I know for our people is those principles that we talk about, you know, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And I tell people all the time, man, you're never going to get to peace without justice, and you're never going to get to justice without healing. We haven't healed yet. You get what I'm saying? That dynamic is so unique in order for us to establish the freedom that we need, because with the freedom, we can acquire the peace and the tranquility that we need. But everything is a cycle, is a process. And I think that even platforms like this, what you're doing, Moorish Lighthouse, the things that you've been presenting in your books, you know, everything is to get us to those principles. So, bro, that's why I'm like, we can design systems that's going to allow us to heal, so that way we can exercise those principles. Because I firmly look and I see everybody always expressing these dynamics, but we don't really evaluate them, and we don't really be doing the work that's necessary to implement it, which is why we become so negatively critical of each other instead of positively critical of each other. And these are the dynamics that I think that we have to establish, and we're going to. So I'm just humbled by everything everybody do. I don't feel no different, as you already know. I just feel like I'm like everybody else. Like, wait a minute, you waking the fuck up? I was in my house 5 minutes ago. Now I'm in the basement of somebody else's house, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? You know what I mean? Trying to figure out how to get the hell up out of this thing so I can get back to my place. You know what I mean? And that's really what it is.
Yeah. All right. So let's get to the main discussion. So as far as like the process of like getting your child delivered without the social security and birth certificate, because you taught me a lot. Because I remember back in 2017, I'll give people a quick story. So the first time I heard the truth, Brother Taj was on the phone, and it was on a lecture about trust and whatnot. And so Taj had him on the phone. That's I think it was like Truth just got done discharging a.
We was dealing with so much. We was dealing with the taxes. We was dealing with the house.
Yeah, taxes on the house. So you just got discharging that, and Taj was on the phone, just elated because you and your wife was like getting down and getting busy. But from there, I tried to reach out. I think I found you from Brother Hassan, and from then reached out to you personally, and like you always been open from day one. and from
Yeah.
there we just took off and writing books and just doing work behind the
Right.
scenes and stuff like that. But you were one of the main ones that, like, I remember you still the pictures and stuff, the details of what you told me
Yeah.
about the process and like how you set things up for your children. Like you went so deep as to like have your I think your children's birth records,
Yeah.
the birth chart and everything. You attached it
Yeah.
all together and everything. So let's talk about A to Z, pretty much what you told me and how
Well,
you guys did everything.
essentially, coming into conscious awareness, at least for me, it's just like what your book explains. You begin to discover that our society has really been operating in a capacity where we've been lied to, and we see how disoriented and unstructured and uncultivated it really is. So having children and recognizing these dangers, these potential threats to who they are socially, politically, culturally, historically, for me, I felt the need to make sure that I created the instrument that would express the consciousness of my ancestors, the voice and the spirit, and do whatever it was to protect them in a way where we know that we're dealing with Europeans who have established institutions that are primarily focused on commerce. We have to understand and recognize that being in this corporate venue, everything is commercial. It don't matter it's commercial. They have commercialized your thoughts. And when you pay attention to the commercialization of how we've been made to think and operate and engage in business and contractually make agreements and acquiescence, meaning waiving rights, we find out that we injure parties. And it's nothing worse to have your children come in and follow suit and follow that same exact traumatic experience, and then themselves grow up to have to fight and figure out, what do I do? What can I do? And it's a testament to the work that has not been done by these groups of people who have already been aware, who have firm institutions, churches, and organizations, mosques, temples. It's a testament to the lack of work, the lack of accountability, and the fact of the matter, they just talking. So when I see my babies and I had my first child, which is truth, I saw myself. And so the first thing that I said was, we're not accepting any commercial instrument that has not been disclosed, that has not been expressed. I don't understand what it is. That's the first damn thing. So which means I don't agree in law. Okay. And because I do not agree to this instrument, then I'm going to reject it. I'm going to deny it. So, before I even start going, just to let you know, my wife, she is on here somewhere. So you might see her somewhere in the chat. But you know, I'm gonna tell her to go ahead and send you a request because she might want to chime in on some of this. But for truth,
Okay.
it was solely about protecting his identity. Okay, because when we start looking at today's time, especially in modern times, we look at these instruments that they produce, especially in the hospital, when they say, "Oh, look, you got to go ahead and sign this birth certificate." Well, does it denote or reflect anything about your national identity on there? No. And then, are you asking legitimate questions? Okay, so what grounds have you established that I'm obligated to sign these instruments? Well, supposedly when you start talking about these birth records, as you know, bro, they're supposed to be enumerations. But for what? I mean, historically, what kind of enumerations? And then we start finding out that these are bond certificates and instruments. Oh, okay. People keeping their, the bank got to keep his record books. The bank got to keep his record books. So essentially, for all the children, I've had a sound confidence, a sound knowledge, in making sure that I would make sure that nobody would come to violate them on a political level or on a social level. That's essentially the disposition that I took. And in my heart of hearts, I always felt like we're dealing with institutions who are generating instruments that says that this is your identity. Well, how come my nationality ain't on there? How come my creed is not on there? How come my language is not on there? How come anything historically relevant to me is not on this instrument, but I'm being forced or it's being suggested that I have to sign off on this instrument, and then when I don't do it, I'm being threatened. Because why? They need you to accept these commercial instruments because we already know. For them to be able to make their feudal claim and hypothecate ownership of all the assets that you own, they need you to agree to these forms and these instruments, period. And then we got to say this. When I was thinking about myself and I was thinking about my children, we said, well, how does this form, or the question that we should be asking, which is what I asked, how does this form relate to citizenship? nationality, classification. How does this instrument apply to citizenship status? So anybody who has a birth record or a birth certificate right now, I ain't even gonna say record, but a birth certificate right now that was issued from some type of corporation, state, Florida, you know what I mean, whatever it may be, Oklahoma, New Jersey, whoever, you know, created this instrument, how does it relate to your citizenship status and your national identity? Like how? You need to ask these questions. Does this has anything to do with citizenship? And if you do, and if it does, I need you to produce the language. And a lot of times it's policy and statutory law, which we know is de facto. I need you to produce in writing where these instruments denote or relate to the classification status of what you call citizenship. Because when you start asking our people who have been labeled and branded as so-called Negro and Black, you gotta say, well, is that a citizenship status? What does this really mean? And then if you pay attention to it now, they stop even putting it on the birth certificates now. They don't even put that on there no more. They don't even put that on there no more. So for me, everything is about making sure that the instruments that we have, if these Europeans can create institutions and say, oh, you obligated to do this, A, B, and C, then I'm gonna take the same disposition based off of my natural right, because we got to deal with, as you know, we deal with common law principles. And for those who don't know what common law principles is, it has nothing to do with any written, enacted law or policies. It has everything to do with who you are consciously, how you are to perceive yourself, reality, how you are to interpret, misinterpret, how you are to function in your daily common livelihood. It's an everyday process. You see what I'm saying? So we're not talking about something that gives you right. We're talking about something where you're exercising your right. That's what common law is about. So everything that we have when it comes to these instruments for my children, it's like, no, I'm going to exercise those rights and I don't need permission to do it. And so in doing so, oh, bro, the environment became instantly hostile.
Like talk about
oh yeah, it became instantly hostile. You know what I mean? Okay. Like, because truth was the first one. And by hostile, we're talking about people who's coming to witness this labor, and we're like, listen, don't touch his placenta. We're not signing no instruments. We don't want no doctors in here. They're in there like this. Well, according to law, we can lock you up. Or according to law, you have to do this, that, and the third. And me, I was a rebel in 2017. I'm gonna get the fuck out of here. I was a rebel. So I'm in there like this. Really? Okay. I'm gonna take your word on it. Go ahead and produce that for me. Produce it in writing, because I want to see where I signed the contract and made a consensual agreement to saying, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and be subject to whatever procedure that you want to implement against me and my child. So essentially, when you start talking about these birth certificate instruments, they are utilized to remove the child's identity. It is an instrument created solely to take away their national position, their legal status, and to remove them and separate them from their culture and to separate them from their land. So ultimately, this is an instrument that I say is used in paper warfare. Okay? Because this is what the fuck this shit is. It is a paper warfare now. And it is used as an instrument and as a weapon waged against our children at birth. So we are being born into warfare from the gate. From the gate. That's very hostile. And it's not taken lightly. That threat to me is not taken lightly. And because we have been conditioned to think that we are African Americans, that we are Negroes and Black, because we have been conditioned to accept this social illusion that we perceive as a reality, because we've been conditioned to accept it, we never judge it. We never make any objections. We never make any objections to anything being presented by any other party that's outside of our family. And that's the issue for me. If this instrument was produced by my grandmother, if this instrument was produced by my aunt, if it was produced by my father, if it was produced by my brother or sister, if it was produced by my wife, shit, if it was produced by my neighbor, shit, if it was produced by my boy, if it was produced by somebody that I knew, somebody that I trusted, somebody that I have a relationship with, then I can accept that instrument. Because I know that it's going to reflect my consciousness, it's going to reflect my interests, it's going to reflect everything that I represent. And not only that, it's not going to take away, in essence, socially, or deprive or rob our children of their identity and their relationship to this land. Okay? That is the issue. So for me, when you're dealing with these instruments, for me, I totally took it as hostile. The environments, and I always say this too. When you pay attention to when you first walk into a hospital, you look at the doctors. What are they wearing? They're wearing these lab coats. They wear the same coats that a butcher wear in the butcher shop when he cutting meat. Don't get it twisted. So you need to understand what you're seeing when you go inside these institutions, because they're ready to slaughter you, period. They're going to do it socially, they want to do it politically, and they want to do it physically. And if you do not know who you are and arm yourself with information, okay? You don't arm yourself with the information. I got to put it out there, bro, even though I know we're not even talking about it. If you're not arming yourself with information, then you are in violation. You're a dereliction of duty. Because while you may have a physical gun, the real gun is in your mind. Okay? Your thoughts. Your thoughts are bullet. You got to load your brain up so you'll be able to shoot your thoughts out and project your thoughts into the reality that you need, because we're dealing with fiction. This right here, okay? This right here to me is like having a sink full of dirty dishes, and you're like, damn, it's soil, it's all this debris and all this food all on the floor, and here come my detergent. Here come my detergent. Here it come with the water. Here it come. It's cutting through all the bacteria, all the artificial toxic ingredients and information. And this is essentially what we have to establish for our children. So understand this, no matter what your perception may be in present time, if you are unaware and don't recognize that you're in a hostile environment, I guarantee you're going to feel it. If not now, you're going to feel it through your course of your experience. You're going to feel it when people come knock on your door and say, yo, where your children at? I want to see them. We diapers, and they got these badges, and you in shock because you don't really know how to respond, because you under this impression that they got all this power and authority. But for real, what they did was they got those instruments, induced you into a contract, because that's what a birth certificate is. It is a contract. It is a contractual obligation, and we're going to get into that a little bit. But you got these people knocking on the door saying, yo, we got rights over your children. And the question becomes, how did a person that you never met before, I don't give a fuck what uniform, what badge they wear, I don't give a fuck where they come from, who they represent, FBI, CIA, I don't give a fuck who they is. Who is this person that you never met that came in here all of a sudden they have established a right of claim in the name of the party that they represent? We got to ask these questions. What's going on that we are so passive that we're like, yeah, go ahead, come in here. Here they go right here. And you got to remember, it is these instruments. And if it has not been disclosed to you, I'm going to tell you right now in the law and contractual law, if there's a lack of disclosure, we already know that those instruments are null and void. Okay? It is a real defense in law that you can literally take whoever you need to court for violations of your right, infringement upon your right, for the culpable activities that's going on, and for failure to disclose the nature of the instrument that they presented before you. So when you're talking about the birth certificate, we got to ask people, where is it being registered? Where is this instrument being registered at? Who is taking note? Oh, well, the hospital is. Well, who is the hospital? Because last time I checked, the hospital is a chartered entity. It's a private entity. Okay? So who's it being recorded with? And then the issue becomes, how come when you look in our family, most of us don't even have our own family records? How come we're not keeping records of our own accountability of our own children? Why do another group of people have to take account for it? We need to ask these questions. And then the impression is, well, you're not going to be able to get your Social Security benefits. Well, you're not going to be able to go to school. You're not going to be able to get a job. You're not going to be able to, all predicated upon. Oh, go ahead, guys.
I'm glad you brought that up, because those are some of the main questions that people were asking me about my girls when I posted that video about last month or so. But my thing is, like, people need to realize this is about breaking generational curses. People want to throw that term around all the time, but it's like you've been saying, we are brought up from inception being thrown into a welfare state. And so this whole process is about reversing that. And like you were just saying, like, we need to keep records of our own people.
Period. I mean, and when you pay attention to it, when people are taking the enumerations through the birth certificate or through the Census Bureau, wherever it may be, we got to understand they taking these to do what? It's stocks and bonds. That's all it is. It's literally stocks and bonds. They want to get an enumeration on how much property and chattel that they have, so they can take into calculation how much they're going to hypothecate any of the assets that you own. And then 10 out of 10 times, when you look at the enumeration records that they have in the Census Bureau, you'll see everybody be misclassified. Okay? So if these instruments are being used to misclassify you, I'm trying to understand how is it serving you a benefit. Have you seen a Jewish person's birth certificate or birth record from their community? It is completely, utterly different. It is absolutely not the same. And the reason why is because they're dealing with national principle, as they should, which is what they got from us in the first place. And this is the same thing that we need to be operating from, a national position. We are supposed to be creating our own instruments that reflect our own consciousness, period. We do not have to get into contract with any other party in the name of citizenship without somebody disclosing what does that mean. I want to know, for people who have birth records, people who have birth certificates, I should say, it's a couple things. What is a certificate? That's the first thing. Two, when you're dealing with this birth certificate, who is it being registered with? How does it define citizenship status? Where does it define citizenship status? If somebody is saying this instrument is solely for the purpose of citizenship status, then can they make a reference to any enacted laws, statutes, policies, international law, constitution? Can they make reference to any of that? And in fact, does the instrument itself express this? Because if the instrument does not express, that means that it's only assumed. And you cannot assume anything in law. You cannot assume anything in contracts. You cannot assume anything dealing with commerce or any instrument that has been designed or issued by a corporate entity. Okay? You cannot do it. That is irresponsible. In fact, it's negligence. Okay? So it is very highly critical that you are able to, one, be critically objective. Because if you're critically objective, just like people are critically objective of us when we start talking this stuff, then that means that you should already expose the lie just by asking 3 questions. You should have been able to talk to a doctor and ask 3 fucking questions and they couldn't answer it. It's nothing to talk about. If they cannot articulate, express, or verify, or reference, then you already know who's lying. It ain't about belief. It's about understanding the conversation in the language of commerce. English, as me and you talk about plenty of time, English as we know it, bro, this is an instrument, this is a dialect that is used solely for commerce, okay? It is not for social engagement. It has been connotatively used like that. This is why we are all disoriented. This is why we don't understand contracts. What you mean? What you say? I thought you meant it like this. You cannot fuck with it. You have to understand it is solely used for commerce, okay? And if you're not studying, reading, verifying, then all I'm saying is you're doing yourself a disservice. And when you start to begin to ask critical questions, the same ones that you ask us, you ask those doctors, they will expose who they are. They will expose their agenda. And a lot of times you have doctors, nurses, and people who work there who are operating in ignorance themselves. Okay, they don't understand that they are also perpetuating colonial agendas to solely denationalize and misclassify the indigenous peoples in order to invalidate their claims to the land. Because what happens is, again, this information is to motivate us to begin to do the work to overturn and undo the injuries that's been done to us. What people call, what do you call it? They call it redress. You know what I mean? In the course of redress, recoupment, reparations, you're going to have to know, okay? And then in that course of reparations, we're going to recognize that it's going to be all about our awareness and correcting the status of our people, okay? And it's going to, hold on, first of all, see these books that's being made, they say it's food for thought. It's literally feeding your consciousness, okay? Bring you back into conscious awareness. Go
So
ahead.
hold on, I got a question. So not
No, you
a
good?
while, but let's go back to when you said they were being
Okay.
hostile and stuff. So what did you have to do in order to get them to
The
like
first
back
thing.
up a little bit
Well, one of the
or
first
back?
things was for our sisters, especially for our daughters that are carrying. It is important to one always have a male with her, whether it's her brother, her uncle, her husband, her boyfriend. It is important. No matter what it is, you need to find a male to sit with you. That's the first thing, because his power alone, his presence alone, is going to make them approach you with a level of caution that's going to be different if you was by yourself. Because when we by ourselves, our women are by themselves, they are at their most vulnerable peak. And I witnessed this with my children's mothers. I witnessed it several times, and I was there every single time. But when they approached us, I seen the vulnerability that would have been there had I not been present. So that's the first dynamic. The other dynamic is making sure that she's prepared. Okay, making sure that she is prepared and aware of what's going on. Again, waking people up to get them to pay attention to the fact that they are in a hostile environment and people are willing to injure them at any cost because of the value that you are to this planet. Okay, so when we was in there, when we was in the hospital, I'm from here from the gate. Who are you? Doctor Who? I need to understand. Have I met you before? No. Do we have a relationship somewhere that I don't know about? No. Is there agreement going on somewhere that I don't know about? No. Well, excuse me, I'm gonna go grab the social worker. Social worker comes in. Do I know you? What makes you think that I'm under the impression that I need any support or services from you? Well, I'm gonna stop you right there. I'm gonna do you one thing. I'm gonna sit here, I'm gonna entertain you for a good 2 minutes. In 2 minutes, you have not gotten out of here. I'm gonna make sure that I'm gonna send it for the police to get you removed. Because this right here is a private sacred experiences, and you're infringing upon that experience right now. So I'm gonna give you some options, right? And then in the course of sitting down, that whole vibe just in itself, before I even start talking like I wanted to, before I even got to there, establishing that foundation that they like, yo, he want to know. He's asking questions. We keep saying that was necessary. He has to, he has to, he has to. They're not producing any documentation. Bro, I done had police, social workers, several doctors. I'm talking about surrounding me. When Wisdom was born, me and Ariane, we was all in Galloway. We done had people surround us. What's going on? You got to do this. According to who? Nah, we're not doing that. I'm so cool. I'm so poised. Nah, we're not doing that. I ain't even gotta get angry. The only time I was really angry is when he was born. Like I said, I was a rebel then. So we poised, right? And so I said, look, man, I need you to go ahead and get out of here. We're gonna have this delivery. We need to turn out the lights down. I need to get some aromatherapy going on. We don't need to hear nothing that you're talking about. If you got something that you want to say, you can write us. You can write us because I'm not accepting any instruments that you're producing. So I started asking them questions like, yo, how does this relate to citizenship? How does it relate to nationality? Where's this being recorded? Huh? Department of who? Orphanage, Department of Commerce. Why would a birth certificate be registered in the Department of Commerce? Why would a birth record be registered in the Department of Commerce? If you don't take my word for it, anybody who's carrying a seed right now, go to the hospital and ask them. They're going to tell you. They're going to tell you. They're not even going to hide.
Yeah.
Bro, they're so arrogant that they'll tell you to your face what they're going to do. Okay? Yeah, we're going to misclassify you, turn you into commercial chattel property, and then we're going to register it over here. And then after that, we're going to have the right to tax you. We're going to have the right to hypothecate ownership. You're going to have to pay taxes, A, B, and C, A, B, and C. You know what I mean? Or et cetera, et cetera. So, when you start.
And not just that, they as soon as the baby get out, baby's not even here 10 minutes, and they're already trying to
Hold on,
stab the baby.
and we've had that, and for one of my children, we've had that experience only because of the situation that had happened, and that's a whole nother story that we'll talk about. But we made sure when it came to all the children, we're not doing none of that. Listen, they're going to be attached to their placenta. They're not taking any needles. They're not getting any vitamin K in their eyes. We're not accepting anything. We don't want anything. We don't want your clothes. We don't want anything. If we need anything, trust me, we'll tell you, but we don't want anything. You know what I'm saying? And essentially, like you just said, they come out being attacked. And if they're being attacked, that means that they're automatically being induced to trauma. I heard you earlier say, why when you look at all of our people, and particularly, no matter what's going on, got insurance, got license. Matter of fact, they on the police department themselves. But when they get pulled over by the police, there's this psychological attack occurring. There's this fear in their psyche that's going on, and we feel it in our body. And it's because of that. While they're in the womb, they're being attacked. When they come out of the womb, they're being attacked. We are in a hostile environment, man. And people are sitting here disillusioned by the antics, disillusioned by the lies. Again, truth right here, okay? The disillusion that's being caused by these lies have induced us into a state of trauma, into a state of fear, into a state of passivity, into a state of belief. You know what I'm saying? And I'm one of them people that's like this. I don't give a fuck about none of that belief stuff, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because how you feel about what you hope don't have nothing to do with the reality that you are experiencing. Your feelings can be used in a way intelligently to protect you and to defend you. Your belief is only going to leave you vulnerable because you're lacking in the proper knowledge and information. This is not I'm not condemning the individual for having them. I'm saying it has not served the purpose of protecting us. So you cannot go into these modes of assuming. You cannot go into there with this, oh, they're going to protect me and they love me and they got loving intentions. Oh, she was so kind. She came out here. She patted me on my head. She waved the baby. Listen. We are in hostile environments, and no matter how disillusioned the lie may appear, how pleasant it may sound, taste, smell, or feel, your body, you are being attacked. And you know when you're being attacked, when you start going through situations, and then things don't start feeling right. It don't start sounding right. You start asking yourself questions like, how did I get in this position? Why am I fighting the system to get my child back? What is going on here? And it lets you know that the work that's supposed to be done, that was set out by Noble Drew Ali and other people, it has been deviated from. Okay? And we have been further removed, leaving us to pick up the further remains to do the work that's necessary. So this is why I commend the brothers like yourself, Kush, everybody. You know what I'm saying? Rise of the Moors for doing the work that they're doing. You know what I mean? Because we are in a hostile environment and we're not at war like I always tell people. Hold on, excuse me 1 second. Yeah, I'm in the class right now. Yeah, I'm in the class right now.
Can I borrow it down?
When I get it, I'm gonna give it to you. I just don't have any change on me right now. So give me about like 10. Once I finish the class, I'm gonna come holler at you.
Okay.
All right. Yep, I got you. Yeah, that's my neighbor over there. Yeah, so essentially we are in a hostile environment, man. And we have to pay attention to the fact that it don't have nothing to do with belief. It has nothing to do with what we feel. It has absolutely nothing to do with it. So when you're having those babies in the hospitals, we need to ask some legitimate questions. Why am I one? Why is this birth certificate a requirement? We all adamant about getting them. The family will encourage you, no, you better get that birth certificate. Your child ain't gonna have no social security number. He ain't gonna be known to who? He ain't gonna be known to who? Or she ain't gonna be known to who? What we talking about here? Because we're talking about corporations, right? So you're telling me that I have to make sure that I register because it's a birth record, right? It goes to the Department of Registry in your county that you're in, right? The birth registry, right? Goes to the Department of Commerce, right? A registry for who? Last time I checked, only commercial instruments get registrations. Last time I checked, commercial instruments get registrations. Just like a vehicle got a registration, right?
And that's why
a car got a registration, right?
Yeah, so that's why they call
come
them
on.
registered security.
And we ain't talking about protection either when we say securities. Okay? So for those who don't know what a security is, you have to do the work. You keep talking about Social Security, Social Security, Social Security. Okay. Listen, the brother put it in the book. He put it in the book. You need to know what a security is. Because your concept, excuse me, go back to the lies. The dissolution being created by the lies got you induced and under the assumption that security means something totally different than what it actually is in law. Okay? And this is the issue when we're dealing with hospitals. It's a hospice from the gate. I'm not condemning the knowledge and stuff that they have, the sincere individuals. I'm talking about the part that's dealing with classification, registration, monopolization, commercialization, fraud, colorable acts. I'm talking about that dynamic. We have to pay attention by asking some legitimate questions. And my thing becomes, like I was telling you years ago, bro, years ago, every instrument that you create is supposed to reflect your lineage. Why don't your birth certificate reflect your lineage? Let me ask anybody who has a birth certificate who's not like a national, I'm gonna ask you some questions. You know what I mean? We gotta ask some legitimate questions. Those legitimate questions is, does it tie you back to your lineage? What does the birth certificate tie you back to? Can it tie you back to land, entitlements, hereditaments, estate? What does this birth certificate tie you back to? Can you go right now and make a collection, make a claim as a result of that commercial instrument? Because you want to defend it. And this is the thing I find very shrewd, bro, is that you'll find incompetent people trying to defend these birth certificates with what they believe and what they feel. This is why I don't deal with beliefs. They will protect it. They will defend it. I'm a citizen. A citizen of what? A citizen of who? Okay, so if you're a citizen, tell me what benefits and shit you just received then. What is your classification status since you are a citizen? How many classification statuses are there in the so-called, I don't even want to say on the so-called corporate United States? How many citizenship status is there? Matter of fact, let's not even deal with that. Let's deal with the common law. How many citizenship statuses are there as it relates to nations? If I go to Ireland right now, do they have 4 or 5 different classification statuses for citizenship? I can guarantee you that they don't. I can guarantee you that they don't.
Thanks.
And it's a reason why they don't. Okay? So when we start talking about these instruments, does it tie you back to your lineage? And if it does not tie you back to your lineage, then what is it used for? To verify who you are? Well, verify you to who? This instrument is used to verify yourself to who? And why are you going to other entities to verify yourself? Because what's going on is a transaction, but you don't know that. It's a commercial transaction going on, and you don't know that. But you're going from institution to institution to institution, institution to institution, and you ain't saying shit. Citizen is code word for property. Okay, in law, when you look up the word goods, goods is anything movable by contract. I'm going to say it again. The legal definition of goods is anything movable by contract. So I got to ask a question. Is a birth certificate movable by contract? It must be movable by contract because they told you that you could not register your child into school without this birth certificate. True. Yes. You go to school. Do you have a birth certificate in school? Did we use a birth certificate to register you in school? If you know?
I'm not sure.
Oh, you ain't even sure. But anyway, we didn't. Get what I'm saying? We didn't.
But look, hold on. So you just said something.
Good.
You said goods? All right, so look, right? I put the etymology of delivery in there. And etymology of delivery.
Come on.
Goods.
There you go. Again, because now we're going back to the Admiralty law. As many people who are aware, they are aware. You're going to the laws of commerce. That's why it's registered in the Department of Commerce. Admiralty law is what? The law of commerce. Okay? Delivery, law of the seas, the woman, the birth canal, the law of the seas. So we already understand these dynamics because these been revealed to us. But my issue is getting us fundamentally prepared to recognize what is really going on when you are going into them delivery room. What is being delivered? Goods, property, chattels, stocks, bonds. In fact, go back and look at your birth certificate. It has a bond license number on top of it. Okay? Which denotes what? Evidence of indebtedness. To who? How are you born into debt? How is that even possible? How? How? And when we go back to, and I ain't want to even bring it up because I said I'm not even going to get into the legalese today. But you can go back to the James Trafficking speech in 1993, who started exposing all this stuff about the birth certificate instrument and how it was utilized for a bond. I was going to make reference to it, but I said, nah, I'm just talking about it loosely because people got to start to break their misperceptions. They got to be destroyed. It got to be purged first before we introduce them to that information. Because when we get people, not everybody, but when you get certain people information who not ready, just like in the Matrix, they say, yo, don't wake that motherfucker up. And really, you're not waking them up. They already in their wake because the wake is to be dead. They already in their fucking wake. Okay? We revitalizing their ass. Okay? So while you in your process of revitalizing their ass, they still in their wake. See what I'm saying? And that's the issue. When we present information to people who's in their wake, we have to destroy their perception. Okay? We got to expose the lie. And we know like many people, they have fell so in love with the lie. It's made them feel so good. It is a fixation. It is releasing so much toxins, and excuse me, not toxins, but pheromones. It's releasing so much adrenaline. It's releasing so much in you that you think is real and you're holding on to it and you're trying to defend it. But I promise you, this information that's being spoken about, that's being written about, I promise you right now, it is going to liberate, unlock the consciousness of our ancestral memory and get us back to doing the things that we need to do and correct the things that need to be corrected, period. Because our biggest issue is this shit that has been undone. And so while we fighting these entities dealing with the birth certificate instrument, is the same thing with every other instrument. The birth certificate instrument is no different than a license, okay? It's no different. It's no different than the Home Depot card, god damn it. Okay? I can create a corporation right the fuck now. Right now, I can create a birth record right now for something that don't even exist. That's an artificial entity right now, and I can open up a bank account for it. These instruments aren't even making any distinguishment between you and a corporate entity. You don't agree? Okay. He breaks down what the 14th Amendment means. He breaks down what a citizenship is. Read the definition. A corporation can be a person, artificial, real or imaginary. How do we do that? We take the real natural person, create a birth record or instrument, induce them, and then what we do? We turn them into a legal fiction. Okay? And so essentially their rights are already being infringed upon. And in this infringed upon rights, we already recognize and understand that, yo, we have an international crime against humanity taking place every fucking day in the name of fucking business. They say never take it personal, it's just business. Okay, so I need you to go ahead and break down and define what the fuck you mean by business. I need you to break down and define what you mean by personal. Because clearly there's 2 separate or 4 separate definitions going on. And when language has not been defined, then it's only assumed. And when it's assumed, that means that somebody got away with some type of benefit and somebody waived their rights and they got hit with some type of fucking injury, okay, or subjugation. This is essentially what is transactioning right here today with these birth records. Excuse me, I don't even want to say records, these birth certificates, okay? The birth certificate is being used to solely remove you from your consciousness. Then from your consciousness, from your legal status. Okay, from your status, it's removing you from your relationship to this land, and it's removing you from the relationship to your story. Why is it that everybody's story is more important than your own? I can accept everybody's story. I have no problem with it. But why is mine being reduced in the name of business, in the name of commerce? Okay, go ahead, guy.
I was gonna get back to because I just tried to invite Ariane on,
okay,
so she can give her perspective, but she's behind me. But I'm not gonna get salty about it. But going back, when they try to, did they try to give her that birth certificate?
Yeah, well, that's the first thing is and this is going to happen. Even when there's a man present and they declare, they say, yo, I'm the husband, I'm here, I'm the father, they're going to bypass him. And every instrument that's going to be presented is going to be presented to the woman. Okay? And so if she's not equipped to recognize what's going on, then she will sign off on instruments and not recognize that she's signing on in a contract where she's waiving rights as a parent. And also recognize that anybody want to look up some law, y'all want to look up the Orphanage Act. Look up the Orphanage Act, because it's going to let you know about the Parental Orphanage Act. It's going to let you know that anyone who's not so-called considered so-called legally married, that the so-called state can come in and assume ownership of your child and claim them as a ward to the state. You know what I mean? And this is an issue. This is a big issue, because let's think about it. Even when we start talking about the state, there's so many points to make. Even when we start talking about the state, we're talking about something that's a corporate fiction, man. How is an artificial entity saying that they got rights over you, and yet every time you have an issue, you have a confrontation with an actual human? Nobody on this planet has ever had an argument with the state. That has never taken place. The state has never issued you any motherfucking thing. That has never transpired, because it is an artificial entity. It cannot speak for itself. Okay? It cannot think for itself. It cannot be a witness. It cannot identify for itself. Only people can do that. So every time you're dealing with things, you're dealing with people who's doing what? Like, yo, here go the instrument that you signed. I got a legal right to be here. According to the law, I got a legal right to be here because you signed off on this contract, because you signed your nature away. Signature, sign your nature on these birth certificates, Social Securities. So this is the problem. This is the dilemma. And when it came to Ariane, when she was in the hospital, that's the first thing they do. They try to slide her the paper. I was like, oh, thank you. I said, oh, thank you. I sat there, and she'll tell you. I literally sat down across, like, I said, I'm going to read this right now. And I started reading off. I said, so let me ask you a question. She'll tell you. I said, yeah. So based off what I just read, would you sign this yourself? Don't you know we had nurses coming in? Hey, we felt the same way. When we had our baby, we was thinking the same thing. And now that we seeing y'all doing it, I think next time we have children, we're going to do it this way. And people start to see that, wait a minute, we don't have to accept these instruments. Because remember, when you start, go back to the book, look what an offer is. Look what a presentment is. Okay? Look what an acceptance is in law. According to commercial law, look up what these mean. Because they're giving you an offer. And it's like, just because somebody slides you a paper and say, yeah, you got to, you think that you got to. You might as well be a child yourself. This is why they classify us as minorities. Not because of numerization, but because the mentality is that of a child. It's everything.
And hold on. So take the fact that they think that we're minorities, and that's typically where the attitude comes from. That's why they get CPS, because they're already presuming you to be property. And so when people try to stand up and they're not in their proper mindset, they're going to be just forcing you to do so because you're their property. You're not in the right mindset.
Exactly. And so they're going to treat their property accordingly. And every single time you turn around, they have an instrument behind them to say, look, here you go. You go to the court, they got a stack of papers. You go to the Board of Social Services, they got a stack of documents and papers. They got receipts. Every transaction comes with a receipt. How come there's always a receipt every time you go into all these institutions? Because the birth certificate, okay, is a commercial instrument. That's why they are constantly producing receipts, because there was some type of exchange of a good, okay? This is why you're able to get locked up and there's a bond placed on you before you even been indicted for a crime, okay?
Mm-hmm.
This is how this is happening, okay? And so we got remedies. Don't get it twisted. We have remedies for this, but you need to be aware of what's going on before we start offering you remedies. Because if we start offering you remedies right now, guess the only thing you're going to be hearing, just like any other drug addict, I can get the fix. But you ain't going to hear the work that's required for you to exercise those rights. Okay? So every transaction that you're dealing with when you interfacing with these people come with a receipt. And it's not to protect them. It's just to say, we just conducted a commercial transaction that gets recorded with the IMF, period, and all the other international bankers, okay? All these transactions are being receipted, and it's all stemming from the birth certificate, period. You don't got to take my word for it. I want you to go back Read the Racial Integrity Act. Read when they started classifying and misclassifying people into 2 subcategories. And when they started first generating the birth certificate instrument in its real purpose. Okay? 1933.
Hold on. It's
Truth right here. He on his phone. Look, he over here laid out.
Oh.
Look with his TikTok on.
It looks like he was asleep. All right. Go ahead. My bad. I just get distracted like that.
Yeah. So yeah, bro, this thing, the birth certificate instrument is an instrument that is used solely for commerce. And we need to understand that. It has nothing to do with nationality. And if everybody, according to the Declaration of Human Rights, I'm just making reference to those just for the sake of protecting rights, Declaration of Human Rights, rights of a child, Vienna Convention, you want to talk about Declaration of Rights of Indigenous People. If everybody's entitled to a nationality, how come this isn't expressed on the birth certificate instrument?
Facts.
Why isn't this not expressed on the birth certificate instrument? Because if I'm going to have a birth certificate instrument, and some of y'all ain't going to like what I'm going to say, but if I'm going to have a birth certificate instrument, it's going to have a couple OIDs on it. Not only that, I'm going to make sure that it say white on that motherfucker. I'm going to make sure it say I'm white on it, okay? Because
I actually put free white person on my daughter's birth record. And what I got on,
yo,
so I made sure to put her representation on there.
Facts. And essentially, our goal is to have these sessions to inspire people to start to listen a little bit more, tap in a little bit more, because it's going to inspire you to do the work once you start exposing things. I always ask people all the time when I first meet them, even with my mother, I ask them all the time, how were you when somebody lied to you and you found out that he lied to you, and the sensation that you felt, you were so angry, and then you see the same person go out and carry that same act against somebody else, and then you go to that person that you see about to be injured and you do everything that you can to stop that transaction from happening, and so you provide them with information. Right? Now, the issue that we have with our people is that we are providing them with information, but because of how they've been conditioned to perceive, they start rejecting it. They start denying it. They start attacking it. They start going against it to their own detriment. So all we essentially saying is that our people have to become more aware of what's going on, that they're in a hostile environment, in order for us to be able to expose what's going on, because it's going to expose itself. As you get more information, as you become more aware, it's going to expose itself, and you're going to see the injury. And so for me, my goal is to get you to have that same exact response that you would have when you find out that somebody lied to you and they about to lie to somebody else, and that motivation that you have to keep that shit from happening again. I want you to have that same motivation when you start to find out this truth, okay? Because all we're doing is giving you truth, okay? We're not giving you an opinion. We're not giving you a belief. We're giving you sound evidence. Now, when we start looking at all these things going on, especially as it relates to the birth certificate, what evidence was produced to say that this instrument is going to classify you properly? What evidence? Because you accepted this instrument without thought, all because somebody said you're supposed to accept it. And yet here I come. All my weapons is used to protect you, not to kill you. But here I come, and you perceive me as the threat, not recognizing that we're the protection. See this right here? It's the protection. It is not the threat. This is not what you should be protecting yourself from. This is what you should be embracing. It is the protection. So when I see Jalil Kush, myself, Taj, Malcolm, they represented the protection. And people misperceived them and took them as the threats. And they got attacked. And then we turn around 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years later, damn, we ain't got no protection. Look at what the fuck we dealing with now. Okay? So all I'm saying to people right now is that we're coming here to slice through all that bullshit fiction and what you think is, or what you feel and you believe. We're here to give you sound information, accurate information, not to take away from what you know, not to minimize what you know, not to condemn you for what you don't know either, but to rebuild you, to strengthen you, to say, listen, we have a group of people who see you every day and smile in your face every day, and they have an agenda. I think before I was leaving, I was saying, yo, we're not fighting a war against people. That's not what's going on. We're not fighting a racial war. We're fighting a small group of people, okay, a handful of individuals who has an agenda to perpetuate the ignorance, to perpetuate their position of empowerment, because they know that it's temporal. They know that that position is temporal, and they're going to use the birth certificate. They're going to use the license. They're going to use every instrument that deal with registration, interaction with instruments with so-called identities. They're going to use it as a means to induce you, to deny you, to take away your rights, and to keep themselves temporarily empowered. They're going to use it to maintain the illusion, to create the concepts, to create the beliefs. And when you pay attention to it, you see our people are dying, and we live the life unproductive. And so it becomes frustrating because we know the potential. The potential is not in being black. Because what conscious awareness does that bring? You see what I'm saying? So when we start looking at these birth certificates, if I'm going to have any instrument, it has to bring a certain conscious awareness to me in the fucking womb, bro. Because that conscious awareness is going to defend me through my journey in this experience. Because I understand what I'm up against. Okay? We up against, again, we're dealing with paper warfare right now. And I got to make a book or a panel, something called Paper Wars. Because we are literally having paper warfares. And if you don't know the art of commerce, you don't know the art of nationalization. If you do not know the art or know how to speak it, you don't know how to speak it. This is why I'm saying get it. And he opens up talking about speaking it. If you do not know how to speak it, it's going to be Kill Bill. That's it. That's it.
So I'm going to go over my experience a little bit because, like I said, he kind of coached me, but what I did, I took his everything and I put it on. And so I didn't really have to do as much as he did because I was proactive. So one of the things I did, and I got all my paperwork still. So one of the things I did, I got the hospital patient responsibilities. So I went to see whatever I can use to put in the affidavit. And then I went on the website and they have frequently asked questions. And the one highlighted, it says, are notary public services available to me while I'm in the hospital? So now I know I got a notary. And so I make my own documents to get notarized. And then I did a lot of, I was extra. So I did, I put the birth declaration in the newspaper, and they give you an affidavit of publication. So now you got proof that you're putting this, everything on the record, right? And so, hold on. This is all the newspapers. We still got all of them from where we did that. But after that, so I put everything affidavit, right? And then when we went to, I think it was like the second to last checkup or whatever you got to go to, I gave it to, I talked to the doctors and I was like, this is this, blah, 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 explaining the document. I said, what I need you to do, I need you to put this in her patient record, or patient profile. I need you to keep a copy for yourself, give it to the hospital administrators, and to the hospital compliance officer. The compliance officer is the legal department. And so my experience is so different.
Hold on one second. I'm listening to you. Hold on one second.
So when we got there, I'll just explain for the people. So when we got there, also another thing that I gave was gosh, it's slipping my mind right now. But the little birth plan. So yeah, I gave them a birth plan. We customized that, and so when we went to labor and everything. So all I had to do when I showed up, I had extra copies of the birth plan, and so I handed it out to the head nurse, and she told her to bring it out, pass it out, all the copies to other nurses. And so when she got there, like we got the royal treatment, so we got the biggest suite. We didn't have any problems. So like it was all smooth. The one thing that she did try to do, like real sneakily, but she was kind of shy. She was kind of nervous. She tried to give my wife the birth
Oh,
certificate and no, the application form, and I was like, and my wife just pointed to me because in the birth plan, I was like the authorized representative, so I was handling
yo,
all legal matters. And so the lady came to me. She was all timid and stuff. She
wow,
didn't even say anything. She just
wow,
handed it to me. And so after that, when it's time to go and stuff, I had the doctor come in, and what I didn't get a regular notary. I got what's called
mm,
the birth clerk, and so that's the lady behind the scenes who works for the Department of
right,
Vital Statistics, and so she actually signed our birth record,
yep,
and so that's how I know the
yep.
birth clerk. But so these are all the steps that I took, and it was like
It,
hassle free. Like I brought in the essential oil diffuser and everything like that. Like we control the whole room because I put all
that's
that
right.
in the birth plan. And so people need to understand, like you get to control it. You just have all these rights. And the one thing that I did, it was the hospital is called
Okay.
St. Francis. And so that it's a religious institution. And so I use their patient bill of rights along with the fact that we have religious freedoms. And so it's like they
Thank
can't
you.
do anything against this. This is their, and so like I
Yeah.
said, it was so smooth, and I for
Wow.
them during this process, and I
Yeah,
didn't have
we
any
did that. See that process, and I'm glad you articulated that and expressed it. That was the same thing we did with our last two. You know, our last two, we did the same thing. I'm going to show you something. Now, I want to show you. You see this in my hand? Do you have any
hmm
birth records or documents like this? Like that?
like that. Hold on, I got my whole folder over here,
Look, see?
but it's like
No. You
not
say
as
no.
big as
Yeah, that's yours. That's how you was at. Listen, when I say
yeah.
me and Ariane was laying shit out, this right here, this is wisdoms. This is not even legacies. This is wisdom.
Dang,
Okay, bro. When I say you
dang.
was in there with documents, instruments, just you name it. Listen, they was documenting, making no. Ariane would tell you they had got. I don't want to say the doctor. I know he was from out of state. He was like Nigerian or something. They had the head doctor, forensic doctor. They had all these different doctors, and they wanted to have a meeting with us. Like, we need to sit down and talk
hmm
about this. What's like? Oh, so y'all don't know nothing about nationality. Y'all don't know nothing about person exercising their rights. Oh, I get it. Y'all want to induce
Yeah.
me into this contract so much, you want to try to pretend that you won't come from Nigeria. Really? You see what I'm saying?
hmm
And what they do is they take and they document all this because one of the things that me and Ariane wanted to make sure is that people who followed behind us was able to execute the same procedure that we did when we was in a hospital. We don't want to understand. Y'all want to talk about something, y'all don't discriminate. Well, then guess what? We're going to see. We're going to put you to it. And that's the thing with our people. We have to put them to it. But if your consciousness, your lack of information, if you think that you black, you lacking the information, then you're never going to be able to do it. You see what I'm saying? You're never going to be able to test them and make them stand upon the things that they claim that they are. You're not going to do it. And so we hold them to it. And so we want other people to be able to go and follow up and do the same exact thing. So what you did, I think people need to hear that. They need to know that they can go to the delivery, so-called delivery doctor or the physician, whoever it may be. Yo, I need you to go ahead and sign off on this as a witness. I need you to make an attestment. You know what I mean? And if you do decide that you want to engage with Social Security or whoever you want to interact with, we understand that it's business. If you want to interact business with these people, then you're supposed to know how to do it properly. So you got to make sure that the instruments
hmm
reflect that it does not commercialize your rights, deny you rights, waive your rights, induce you to think that you are something that you're really not. You know, you got to make sure you correct this. Excuse me.
Also, while you're drinking that, so this is for the people who's worried about if it's legal and everything. Because one thing I left out, um, we also recorded in the family Bible.
Facts.
That's just extra security because that's what I'm about to read out here. So if you go to 20 CFR 404.716, and this is on the Social Security government website. It says the type of evidence of age to be given. So normally when they ask you for like your birth certificate or stuff like that, they're trying to see how old the child is.
Can you repeat that statute again real quick?
So it's 20 CFR 404.716. And I'm just gonna read B, because this is what I put at the bottom.
All right, I'm putting it into the chat so people can see it in writing.
Okay. So I put this at the bottom of his birth record because if you go to a doctor or anything, I just want to give them something familiar or something that they have a reference point. And so what this is, it says other evidence of age. I'm just going to go to B. If you cannot obtain the preferred evidence of your age, which is a birth certificate, you will be asked for other convincing evidence that shows your date of birth or age at certain times, such as, and it lists off all the stuff. Number one, an original family Bible or family record, school record, census record, a statement signed by the physician or midwife. And so that's why I did everything I did, because I found this code first. I looked this code up. I know that's really bright, but at the same time, it looks like a legal document.
See how you eloquently laid that out? It's brilliant. And one of the things that people should also start doing when they go to the hospital, ask them for their policies or their constitution in relationship to dealing with discrimination. Okay? Ask them for those instruments, because you need to see it in writing so you know how to hold them accountable for it. Because a lot of them haven't read it themselves. A lot of them are unaware about it. They may make reference to, oh, no, we're not going to discriminate, and use the expression, but totally discriminate against you because you start exercising these rights. And then they induce you with fear to think that you cannot exercise these rights to have your own documents, presentments, and instruments. So if you're going to interact and do business, let me say that differently, because a lot of us aren't aware that that's what's transpiring. Except for if you're going to interact with these corporate entities, you want to have your own instruments. And like the brother is saying, turn them into affidavits. Make sure that you make it and put it in public records, make a publication in the newspaper. You see what I'm saying? You're taking these measurements to do what? You're declaring, you're proclaiming, you're making it be known. It's not being hidden. So when you're dealing with the police, oh, you're an illegal alien. You ask the police what an alien mean, he don't even know what the fuck it mean. He think he talking about something from outer space, but he gonna call you an alien. You know what I mean? So we have to understand these terminologies, because this is what's really going on with everything. You have to enforce law. The only way the Moors going to force law is that they know law. And I'm talking about all Moors, amalgamated, Europeanized, whatever. I'm talking about all of us. You are not going to do it with your hopes and feelings. You're only going to be doing with your knowledge, your awareness of it. Isn't everything in life done with an awareness?
Also,
isn't everything we do in life done with conscious awareness? Then how the fuck is it any different when we interacting and interfacing with these people? How is it different?
Also, here's another thing. So this is for, and I'm probably just going to do this later on questions, but this is from the United States Department of Justice and the United States Department of Education. It's a fact sheet, information on the rights of all children. This is to enroll in school.
Right.
And so down here, it has proof of age. And I just read you the code that you can combat that with. And over here, it's talking about the Social Security number. So it says a school district may not require you to provide your own Social Security number in order for your child to enroll in school. And it says the same thing about your child. So you don't have to have a Social Security number.
See,
you can find all this from their stuff. They just
I mean, you gotta remember, nobody. It go back to what John Henry Clark says. Nobody's going to educate you to take away power from him. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's going to educate you to take away power from them. And so they're going to keep it hidden, even though they got to make it public, because again, it's commercial. When you talk in public, you're talking commercial. When these terminologies are being used in English, in the context of English, it is commercial. And we need to understand this, okay? So when we go on commercial, you need to know what program you're going to be running, okay? Not their program, your program. Okay, period. So what you doing, bro? Things that we doing are in the interest of our families, our lineage. It is to preserve the national principles that our ancestral lineage was founded upon. It is to maintain the integrity of it, because we do not continue to do this. We do not make our own records and instruments and take accountability for ourselves. We will be literally written out of existence. This is essentially what's going on when you're dealing with the birth certificate instrument too. We are literally being written out of existence with words. Okay? Yesterday you was African. Today you black. You get what I'm saying? You get where I'm going with this? You're being written out. It has all the language being used has nothing to do with national principles, and you're being written out of your memory, consciousness. Pretty soon, if we fast forward 10 years from now, oh, let me say maybe 50 years from now, and this work here is not being done, then guess what? We're not even going to know that they was even using the term black. We're not even going to remember that they was using these terminologies, because we are constantly being induced to forget. Okay? That's what these represent. These represent the erasures of your lineage. So when I see a birth certificate, it is a weapon. Okay? Not just a weapon used to physically exterminate you, but to exterminate you from the social reality that's the language that's expressed in nature. It's just deeper than what we think it is on a metaphysical level, man. We ain't just sitting here talking papers and scissors. Like, it's deeper. It's the words on that fucking paper. It's the thought and the intention behind these instruments. What tune is this instrument playing? Because I'm just talking on the physics parts, because the birth certificate is an instrument, is a legal instrument. Is it good? What kind of music is it playing? What kind of sound is it playing? Is it harmonizing with anything going on with you? And you find out that it's not. So you have to create your own birth instrument, your own birth records that plays the tune of who you are, your national identity, your lineage, your story, your relationship to this planet, because this shit is removing it. So we are under conscious attack. We are under paper warfare and paper genocide. This is what's going on. So that's why I'm like, yo, the work that Kush is doing, the rise of the Moors is doing, Taj has done, all the work that's been done, it is to preserve the consciousness of who we are on this planet. If we do not do this work, we will no longer exist. Who else is going to do it? This is about extermination, man, eradication. So the birth certificates is about eradication. I'm just telling you what it is.
So I'm about to invite one of my sisters on here, Lanique. Because she's going through this process right now.
Yeah, that'd be fly.
And then we can start.
Yeah, man. And, you know, as I be thinking about this, bro, you know, just loosely us talking, yo, bro, it's deeper than what we really know. And the frustration that I feel inside, the passion that I have inside, you know what I mean? Because I'm watching as our families are being dismantled. And when I mean families, I'm talking about the whole human race itself is being dismantled. You know what I mean? It's deeper than just, yo, we giving out information and hope you wake up. No, it's work to be done. But anyway.
Peace. How you doing? I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
Yeah, she on mute. No, she on mute.
Can you hear her?
Yeah, I think she's muted.
Are you muted?
Yeah, I don't hear her neither.
We can't hear you.
See, she logged back on. She logged back out. See.
Yeah, drop out and come back on.
Yeah, because it's mute.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So yeah.
But questions, start asking you questions. I know I saw a couple earlier, but I didn't want to get to them yet.
Yeah, man. See, them questions that be being asked, you guys, I like, yo, they be thought provoking. I mean, that's why your TikTok up like that. You know, it's the questions really.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say how I perceive it. Those questions are keys to unlock people. You know how you put a key through the door? You're literally unlocking people with a question. You know what I mean? And when you open that door, surprise, you got a whole answer. You feel me? You getting that answer. So I love it, bro. I be looking like, yo, I be amazed, man. I've been telling everybody about you. I be going places. I be in schools. Oh, there she go.
Can you
Let's
hear
see
me now?
if we can hear.
I'm trying to see, if she.
There she go.
I'm like, I'm not
Yeah,
here
we can hear you.
already. I
What
wasn't
happened?
ready. Look,
No, you
intro,
fine.
but
You
I'm
fine.
here. Hi, everyone.
Peace, sis.
Good. How
I'm
you?
good. Look, I got
So
my
you have.
barking dog all in the background and all kind of madness going on. I'm here though.
So how's the process going? Like, did you
I
turn in any
turned in
paperwork yet?
the birth plan, and then I got with Sacred Birth Doula,
Mm-hmm.
and I ended up getting her package as well. She has a pretty good detailed package. So I still have a long way to go. I'm only 16 weeks,
Hey,
but
hey, wow.
yeah.
Also, are you recording this process? I'm just saying, I think that you should record this process too while you're doing it too. Actually take clips and videos of your whole process, because it could be used as a premise for people to see the actual process when you go through it, when they go through it
Okay.
themselves.
Okay.
Yeah, and with you being a mother, you're gonna have the energy to amplify it, and so you can help
Yeah,
a
I've had a
whole
couple
bunch
people
of
reach
people out.
out to me, and then, I just kind of give them references, or like, the paperwork that you gave me. I know I need, like, as crazy as it sounds, I don't have a Bible to do the recording thing in the Bible, so I need to get one. I know my mom probably has a few around here, but I'm just trying to get everything in order before next year, because that's when it'll be time.
Yeah.
But I got the document notarized to take to my next appointment, so I'm gonna do that. Yes.
And the stamps. Okay. Cool.
So I'm just trying to get all my ducks in a row. I'm still learning everything. I know I don't want any issues with getting a passport, because I'm a travel agent. So I plan on getting little baby a passport so he can be out of here. So that's something else I want to make sure.
Also, with that, you don't need a social security number for that, and you can find that on the travel website
Okay.
in the questions.
Okay.
Frequently questions, and
For
it's on there.
sure.
So that's another thing that people have been asking, like, how do you get a passport without a social security number? Go there.
Yeah, it tells you
Yo.
the documents that are acceptable and not accept. What you can bring to still get that done. So
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
people just gotta read.
And so, like, if you, yeah, you got to read. And so you put it in explanatory statements, and then, like, so, like, let's say I wanted to wear fez also in my picture. You can put in your explanatory statements that the fez is your
Right.
religious headdress, and so they
Right.
have to. This, like, again, this is all on their website where they're talking about the religious
You
stuff.
know, you remind me of your book, because when you started opening up talking about those statutory laws and breaking it down, what a statute is, essentially we're literally talking about this right now without using that language. But when you start talking about reading, people have to go to these statutory laws and start to read them, because they are there to be read so you can enforce them, so you can make these distinctions between what's colorable and what's not. I mean, this is why it's so critical that, like, everything that you're doing, these books, recording, this stuff is critical. Our people have to come into awareness, because it is right there. It is not hidden. And they looking at you like you a magician. How you do that without a social security number? Really? You didn't need no birth certificate? Really? How'd you do that? Oh my, no, that's not. It's all this. You know what I mean? This hyper energy, and you look magical to them right now. Like Puff the Magic Unicorn right now. You know what I mean? So, but redirecting their attention to reading these statutes to understand, to get a fundamental comprehension, it will lead you to more research. It will lead you to inquiring more, the pursuit of knowledge. It will just enhance. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm like, just read, do this work. It's going to enhance, and the work that needs to be done, because we all have to contribute the work. We all have to contribute the work to correcting this together. We cannot do it by ourselves. Look at Malcolm. Look at everybody that came before him. No one can do it by themselves. We need everybody to participate and be in the same conscious vibration to turn this shit around. If not, we're going to continue to suffer. And we're going to continue to deal with all these challenges. And it's sad to put all this into just dealing with a birth certificate. But I'm just saying, this is deeper than what we really think.
Yeah, like
Know
baby
what I
daddy
mean?
is not trying to hear none of this stuff. Like he's
Marcus.
just so like, and
Yeah.
I'm just like,
Fear.
okay, let me just do my due diligence, make sure all this stuff is on the record with the hospital. Because at the end of the day, I'm like, we not doing this stuff. So he's just got to be mad about it or whatever.
Well,
And
well, you know, they're going to come to you first anyway. They're not even going to worry about him. So
right,
he's irrelevant anyway. Right now, in fact, because the child
That's
is
what
in
I.
your womb, period, he's totally irrelevant.
mm-hmm,
He's only there to protect, and he don't
right,
want to do his duty when he deal with men like us. Not to say, you know, discredit him, but we're going to hold you accountable because you need to get in your position to protect that woman now. It ain't
right,
about what you feel, what you believe.
right.
It ain't about that because you're creating a consciousness in that child right now that's going to come out prepared. So I thank you because I know now that my son got somebody he can partner with.
Mm-hmm,
I know that now because that's literally what's being created in the womb. It is deeper than what it is on the surface. These instruments are keeping us from connecting the way we need to connect. I'm
mm-hmm.
telling you, it's interference on the fucking play. You know
Yeah,
what I
I know
mean?
a
And
few
they keep
women are
moving the
also
goalposts.
asking too if you can get into the process because I don't want to give the wrong information if they've already signed a birth certificate. So I believe it starts with authenticating the birth certificates, and that's how you kind of undo it, so to speak. But I know a
Yeah,
few are asking about
I don't know if Jalil want to answer, but I can
Go ahead,
answer after
Chris.
he answers.
that.
No, you
Yeah,
can
well,
go ahead with this one.
it's a couple things. Any instrument is back to commerce, back to commercial law. Any lack of disclosure in the said contractual agreement makes it automatically null and void. Okay, that's the first thing. Two, everybody has a right to a national identity. Was that established when you signed the birth certificate? You know, this is what you got to ask people because you're talking about rescinding a contract. You
There you
have
go.
every legal right to rescind every instrument. You will get an actual, I'm telling you the things that I've done. Get an actual copy of the birth record. I want to authenticate it. I want it sealed by your so-called instruments that you have, right? Once you do this, I used a whole affidavit that I have created in rescission. I filed it with the state. I filed it with the federal courts, and I gave everybody notification. This is no longer a contract. I never signed it in the first place. I didn't consent. This is an instrument that is hostile. It's a declaration of war. Listen, I gotta send Jalil the instruments because he gonna say, "Choose, let me get that." He gonna say, "Let me get that." So when I did it for myself, bro, it was completely different, bro. It was like, no, it's automatically being rescinded. And so when I'm saying anybody who signed the birth certificate can absolutely rescind that instrument, and it can be expressed any capacity that you want, and nobody can ever hold you liable to it because now you are rejecting it. You are your objection to it is a reflection that you are in your conscious awareness. It's a reflection that
Mm-hmm.
you are working to restore and reconnect yourself back to the conscious memory that we all have collectively. So we are working to undo this shit. So yes, rescind it. Absolutely. You ain't gotta do no authentication process. How can you authenticate in a contract that is based on fraudulent pretenses from the beginning? It's a fraudulent contract. It's impossible to authenticate. This wasn't created in good faith. This is commerce we're talking about. But you're the assumption that people have is that they're dealing with nationality and national principles, identity, citizenship, and they're absolutely not. And you got to ask them, why are you afraid to take a position and say, yo, yeah, I'm going to rescind this. I don't even need to ask them. I don't need to go through no crazy process and authenticate what? I'm going to authenticate this national identity that we're going to commit. Make your own national birth records. Talk to Jalil. Talk to me.
Mm-hmm.
Birthright Publication, The Rise of the Moors, RV Bay Publication. We have to create our own instruments and authenticate them with each other. We're the only nationals on the planet who can authenticate anything. You see what I'm saying? Not to attack, not to make you feel like I'm attacking you on what you ain't understand, but all I'm saying is that you can rescind every instrument right now. She could do an affidavit right now. Take it to the doctors. Here you go. I need you to go ahead and sign on this as a witness because not only that, because I'm going to create a contract to make sure that you sign that you was a participant in fraud. Because, you know, once I put the affidavit together, they didn't read it. But they damn sure signed off on it because I just got that energy. Just like Jalil do. Just like Jalil do. And when you see this instrument, they don't even know they signed that, and I can take these dudes to court and sue them. This is what we all have to build to. You see what I'm saying? It's an international crime against humanity to give somebody a birth certificate and then tell them that it's their identity. Tell them that this creates a citizenship status. And then to tell them that they need to take these instruments and go engage in other business transactions with it, or you'll be denied rights or privileges. So what I'm saying is we have some work to do, and you can deny that birth certificate, create your own instruments. Let's come together. We'll seal them. We'll look at them. We'll create them, and we'll create a national instrument that everybody can use. This is what nationalization is about. This is what we should be doing together as Moors. I don't care if you come from a temple. I don't care if you come from a mosque. I don't care if you come from a church. This is what the goal is. And we're creating it right now in this moment. So anybody want national birth records? We're creating them. Okay? We're going to authenticate them together. We're going to come to an agreement with that authentication is going to look like, sound like, feel like, be expressed like. And when you go to that hospital, by the time you get to that hospital, you're going to have one. Here you go, doc. Go ahead. Go ahead. I need you to sign that right there.
Pretty much.
And you're going to go home and sleep good. That baby going to be protected and feel good. And they're going to be ready and say, I'm ready. Okay? It ain't got to do nothing with fear. It ain't got nothing to do with fear. We got to change this dynamic. Because they're using commercial instruments to take away our identity, to take away our rights, to keep us induced to dealing with their debts and their issues. And they classifying us as stocks and bonds and chattel to this day. And it is the birth certificate instrument. It is an instrument of war, paper war. Understand what it is, not what you feel and what you think or what you assume. So we're going to get together, sis, and we're going to make sure that we take care of you. And we're going to have all these Moors and all these nationalists on there. We're going to talk with them. We're going to put a census together. We're going to put a survey together. What you want to do? I don't want to hear no critique because we're going to put it out there. What do you want to do? And if we get an ill response, then we know who we're suing. We ain't going to deal with them because we got work to do. And this is it right here to protect our babies. And I guarantee you, when you go to that hospital, they're gonna give you the royal layout. Because we're gonna have all this established long before. They're gonna give you the royal layout. Where we need to put you at. You might have that baby in a hotel, 5-star. They telling you what you want to eat. We got telling you. And this is what we got to do.
It really felt like we was at a hospital hotel. Like that room, I never felt a hospital room so big.
Right, man. But yeah, but back to that, she can rescind that birth certificate, and we'll be there to help her with the instruments that she need to help with getting a better understanding of what's going on and recognizing the injury that was done, because this is a tort in law, commercial law. This is a tort, a culpable tort, a culpable injury. This is a deprivation of human rights. This is a Title 18. This is a Title 42, United States Code. Everything that we saying that we want to do, we want to sue these people. We want to be compensated for this. We want these reparations for this. This is the way that we do it. I'm giving you one solution right now. So I don't want to hear no shit from none of these Moors. I don't care who's disagreeing, who's not agreeing. You don't ride with the rise of the Moors? That's because you down with the fall of the Moors. And you talking all this, you keep talking fall of humanity. We talking the rise. You feel me? So all I'm saying is we are going to create the instruments that we need for our sisters. So y'all can reach out to us. We're going to have the website up by this week, within 2 days. Birthright Publications, me and Jalil, all of us, and we're going to be dealing with our birthrights. We're going to have Taj, other people involved in this. We're going to do this properly on a national level, okay? And we're going to do it on an international level. We're not going to play with this. And we're going to create this so you don't have to have these worries. So here go one remedy laid out on the table. We're going to deal with the rise of the Moors. We're going to interact I'm here. Let's go. Let's go. I know who the council is. I'm looking at him.
So anybody else have any questions? Yeah, truth is going to sit on some of them documents.
I'm telling you, bro.
Find out
Them
who got all the
receipts.
sauce.
Like I told y'all, man, like this, I was so happy when he was open. Like he was showing me one thing and then, oh, let me show you this. And let me show you this.
Right.
This is how I did this. Like when you see his book, you'll see why he's like the way his mind works, because it's an artistic mind. And so he's so detailed with everything. Sometimes I gotta tell him, but like he really gets, like I have to cut him off because he'll talk the whole time. Like, but it's just so effortlessly, just so effortless for him though. It's like that's why I love like being able to just like
and see when I reach out to him, I'm
whenever
like,
I
I
want
hope I'm not getting on his nerves.
Oh no, I'm just right. I don't care. It's like I ask more questions.
Yeah,
I really
absolutely.
respect your time and the fact that you're not charging for this, because again, there's people that seem to be so thirsty and everything is about money, money, money for them. And it's like if it's really in your heart to help somebody, that you're gonna, somebody's gonna pay it forward just because that's how the universe works. So you don't have to always penny pinch everyone, and especially when it's a lot of single moms out here that's just trying to make it and make ends meet. So every time you come around, it's like they don't have money to pay for this stuff, So
right. And that's a beautiful point the sister make. And so we're going to sit down and we're going to have some meetings about this so we can all make sure that we can accommodate each other. And also, it lets you know who is who. When people put a price tag on the work of liberation, then you know who they are. Or they have a lot of misconceptions, because you can't put a price tag on the liberation. Cannot do it.
And they're out there fixing somebody else's stuff that they done got from them and then charging people for it. I'm not even going to speak on that, though.
You know what I mean? It takes a lot of work, but we're going to make sure that that doesn't happen, that doesn't transpire. We're going to make sure that we're there for our people, because essentially we understand the work that needs to be done. And because we have been so disunited, you see all these different groups of Moors, calling themselves various different things every day, but you see how we're not united. So this is something that we can do. We can create a union, and we can make whatever critiques and edits that need to be made. Except for we make a public presentment between the community, then we get to see who is who. And everybody that goes against this solution right here that we're talking about, because we're saying this solution everybody can contribute to. But if you see people take their hats off the table, then you know who is who and who is selling who out. Make sense?
Okay, so Empress 3 just asked me, she said, greetings, I am due soon. Can you give me an idea of what should be stated in the contract for the hospital? You can DM me after this and I'll send you something. So, because I made templates. Actually, I made my first template for Lanico here, but I'll send that over to you. So
I see a sister who was in a comment who said something to the extent, she says, this is Wild Beat Life. She said, I want to say that I've been too many different discussions on this topic. This is the first group where the fear is removed and it seemed achievable. Now, that speaks volumes. That's what we are as teachers. My goal is to remove the doubts and the fears and insecurities that you have based off of misinformation. Same thing with Jalil. Same exact thing. And so I just want to give acknowledgement to that. That meant a lot to me, because that's the one thing I talk about all the time, removing that fear. Got to remove the fear. And the fear is only there because misinformation has taken a place of awareness. You know what I mean? It's taking the place of awareness.
Yeah,
this is it. You know what I mean?
And we're teaching how to get prepared and what to prepare for, and giving you different scenarios. Like his story is different than mine, but ours both work because we had that consciousness and we had the preparation, because we like we study and we just put it in application.
In fact, and the thing for us, I don't know about you, Lil. I tell you what, when I first learned about what an affidavit was, this is truth with you. You just turned 12. So this is 12 years ago, right? 12 years ago, I first found out what an affidavit was. Here it is. I'm 27, and I never even heard the word affidavit before. You see what I'm saying? When I heard the definition of that word, I heard the definition of what a writ was, heard the definition of what a trust was, heard the definition of what color of law means, what fraud means. When I heard these definitions, it unlocked some shit inside of me, bro. I literally, before Truth was born, right before he was born, listen, I would walk in the middle of the street onto oncoming traffic just so I can get a ticket, just so I could get arrested. Because I said, no, this shit is too good to be true what I just learned. I'm going to test this shit.
Mm-hmm.
And when I sat down in confidence, bro, I'm talking about being in the middle of traffic with a group of people around you, and this police is so disoriented by what you're saying that they don't know how to perceive or how to approach you. This information on what we're doing is unlocking keys inside of people to get them to restore. The root word of correction is core. Your core, okay? We're restructuring and we're strengthening and we're correcting. So this information is to get you to do the work that you need to do. People walk around here saying, oh, I want to know what I need to do in the movement. I need to know how can I help. No, you already know what to do. You already know what to do. This is to unlock you, to motivate you to get it done. The work that Jalil doing, the Rise of the Moors, all the brothers is doing is to get you to get the work done, to participate. You know what to do. You're supposed to be getting together with each other. That's one of the things you're supposed to be doing. I'm talking about everybody. There's no exclusion of people. We're dealing with one group of people's misinformation that has been Hellenism. Look up the word Hellenism, the spread of Greek philosophy, okay? People talk about catching hell. It's Hellenism. We are dealing with foreign European concepts, principles, and ideology and how we interpret everyday life. It's not invalid according to them. All of them don't function in the same capacity. Like we all don't function in the same capacity. So all I'm saying is that we have to recognize that we have to start doing the work to get together, because it is the work that we're going to do together that's going to really counter what's going on. Period. It is your responsibility. It is your obligation. And no matter how you may feel about it, fearful about it, the work that we're giving you, truth, will allow you to bypass fear, because you're dealing with a higher level of principle, a higher level of meaning that resonates where ignorance can't even participate in. So all I'm saying is that you're going to know the work to do, and we're going to need everybody to participate. This don't exclude no nation of people. It doesn't. We need you. We need your contributions. We need you to interpret, reinterpret. We need you to start writing literature in your language. We need you to, this is a national issue. So the work that Jalil and everybody else is doing, it is not to be minimized. And we know that we're going to know who is who by what they say and what they do. That's why we're going to stand on these national principles. And I apologize for loading this all up in the conversation, but when we start talking about these birth records and birth certificates and all this stuff is a deeper meaning for me. And I'm just working to show you what it is that I see. Because I love you. James Baldwin said, if I love you, I have to make you conscious of the things that you are not aware of. I don't love you like I'm vulnerable to you. I love you like I see myself when I see you, no matter who you are. And when I'm not seeing myself, then I know that you're not who I am. But anyway, let me not go there.
And like you said, it really is a spiritual, it's both. It's a spiritual and it's a physical battle. And so it's like, you speaking about the spiritual stuff, it's like people need to hear that, because this is what's working in the background of us pushing this paperwork or speaking and everything. So it's really, it goes hand in hand. And so it sound irrelevant, but it's like people can feel your confidence and you just speaking. Like the lady said, like the fear has been removed, is because like she can feel that you come from a place
Right.
of like experience. We both come from experience, and so you're saying all these other stuff, but it's like this is what you have to go through. And like I said on the live the other day, it's like I think that's the one you were talking about, right?
Yeah.
About the police. As
Yep.
soon as they get behind, like we get scared. That's a traumatic response.
Right.
And so it's like getting over the fear. Like once you get over the fear, like you feel so much freedom, and
Facts.
like that can't be under
Fact.
all. And so like I was about to say,
That's facts, bro. That's facts.
Go ahead.
Yeah, man. That feeling, man, we all get. But you know, that's why I'm like, the work that we're gonna do when we start creating these birth records for our people, birthright publication is gonna lead to a lot of positivity. It's gonna lead us to doing the work and not arguing about our feelings, who is who started what. Those arguments will automatically be removed from the spectrum, because like I said, we're gonna see who is who and who is not. And so once we're able to separate and identify, those who are supposed to do the work are able to come together and not have those fears, those I don't trust you, or that will be gone. You know what I mean? So this work is very important, and everybody plays a part. And they don't want let me say that differently. It's a small group of people who don't want us to unite, and they will use every commercial opportunity to wipe us out of existence in the name of business.
So like this is another reason why preparation is important. So like if you're basketball, right, and you play, you can easily defend against that play because you know what's coming. So if you know the hospital's patient bill of rights, you know their handbook, you know what they can or can't do. And so now you don't need to be fearful because you already put documents in place to defend yourself.
Right.
It's the same concept.
Hold on, give me 1 second, Rook. I want to make an interjection. All right, Legacy, good night. Her mom texted me and said she wanted me to say good night to her, so I guess she's going to bed right now. So good night, Legacy. Yeah, but you're right, God, on everything you just said. You're absolute on it. Somebody said, when you don't know better, you cannot do better. Facts. Facts. You know what I mean?
Anybody got? Because I'm ready to get here. I'm going to post this as soon as we're done. That's if they let.
Yeah, anybody got questions? But yeah, birthrightpublication.info is going to be the new website going up, just to let everybody know. And we're going to be having just everything that we're talking about pretty soon, dealing with just creating our own birth records, our own national records, and doing this collectively. So look forward to that soon. And we're going to reach out and send a presentment towards all the Moors. I'm going to drop a presentment. Of course, Jalil going to see it. He's going to contribute to it. And we're going to make a presentment to all the Moors who are in the course of saying that they're doing this work. And we're going to come up with a national instrument, a birth instrument. And we're going to use it as a national instrument and start to nationalize our people. And that's one solution.
Also, okay. Since he was spreading my book, Truth wrote this book. We wrote this book. I don't know. He like it when I say he.
That's
he
right.
Want me to include myself. But I want to support. This book is called American History Lied. We Are Not Black: Dispelling the Misconception, Volume 1. You can get this on Amazon as well. But I'm just a contributor researcher. He did a lot of the work, so most all of the work.
Nah, man. Nah, yeah.
But no, that's just our relationship, though. Because like I told him the other day, it's like he gonna be in all my books, and I don't care who likes it or not, because that's just because like we just always kicking information off each other, and so like, it's beautiful. And shout out to E. Shout out to E.
Shout out
E. You in there, E.
Shout out to Ariane, because I know Ariane's sitting here listening into, and I know, and when you talk to Ariane, I'm gonna just say, Ariane, for those sisters that's there, I'm gonna just tell you this: her insight, because she's been with me for so many years, and we've done this together for so long. Her insight, her own take on it is totally different than everything I just explained. She explains it from a place where a woman interpretation is completely different than a man's. And so when you hear her articulate, it's not only elegant, but it moves you in a way where when you talk about removing fear, you're gonna be just like Trinity in the Matrix. In Matrix 4, she was the one too. You know what I mean? She was also the one. And that's essentially, when you hear her talk, it's gonna be wonderful. And I cannot wait for y'all to listen to Ariane speak, because she is on a whole nother level. I'm telling you. She's like a 2.0 to me. You know what I mean? This is my wife, so she's a 2.0 to me when it comes to this.
No, you're 2.0 to her.
Facts. Facts. You're right. I'm a 2.0 to her. I got it backwards as hell right now. Right.
But all right then, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. Like I said, I'm about to post it as soon as we're done. Lynette, thank you for
we got you,
having
sis.
me.
Yeah. Also, I'll send you a little thing to Morocco. Like, I was trying to get there one day.
Whenever you're ready,
but
payment plans available.
Yeah. So, real quick, just tell people what you do.
I'm a travel agent. I own a concierge business, and I also bartend and do event planning. So I'm here in Los Angeles, but I travel anywhere in the world. Thank you. I just ordered your book too. I got a second book to order now.
Thank you for coming on.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Truth.
All right, bro. I'll hit you up, man. I'm about to get to work on what we were just talking about. So we got a lot of work to do to start doing, you know what I mean, getting things right. So appreciate the vibe, man. And
yeah, as soon as I get off here, I said, as soon as I get off here,
bro, I'm about to get to it, man. I got a lot of stuff to show you and send you too as well. So look forward to that. Look forward to that. Yeah. A lot of stuff to send you.
All right, then.
All right, peace to the God.
All right, peace.